just gotta get it nice and comfortable, right? It's good. That's good audio right there. So this is what we'd be tying up today. Just calling it the dog walker because I don't care to think up a better name. And it's a fairly large fly, as you can see. You can fish them for whatever you want, but I designed it for tiger muskie here in the Pacific Northwest. I know they eat stuff better that's smaller, but that's not why I like to fish for those fish. I want to see them eat giant stuff. The other kind of cool thing about this fly is it's got a Rainey's diver head tucked in there. So the one that's cut flat on the bottom. Shout out Schultzy for the ideas on that stuff. It's kind of an Optimus swine. Eli's pattern. He puts a whole popper head in there. Pretty similar. Not doing any groundbreaking stuff. Something kind of cool is I am using that new Gunner Brammer or whatever that dude's name is, the Predator Swimbait hook. These things are pretty odd looking. But I got a 4/0 and a 6/0. I think I'm just going to tie, I don't know. I'm going to tie the 6/0 because I like the big stuff. But the idea for this was to be fished on a full intermediate. We're going to tie it with synthetic yak hair. And, you can kind of brush it out a little bit to get it on top of that hook. But the idea was to fish it, in the summertime when the weeds are heavy and you can throw this thing out on a full intermediate and it's got that diver head. So it's going to ride point up. It's going to come through the weeds fairly good. And it kind of does this, Zara spook, walk the dog motion where it's going to dart this way and then glide this way. It's basically a glide bait as a fly. That's why it's so long. And you got all the weight up front. So when you pull it, you want long strips. You don't want to speed strip that thing. But yeah, that's basically it. If you're just getting into, fishing for muskie or northern pike or the combo tiger muskie, it's a good fly because you don't have to tie on a game changer platform or, multiple shanks like a game changer, getting the taper just right. It's a little bit more just friendly in the aspect of you can sit down and pretty much whip it out if you have basic fly tying skills like this guy. So what we're going to do, I'll probably mess this up because I haven't tied this one in a little bit. We've got old synthetic yak hair. Not old, it's just, I don't know why I said that. Synthetic yak hair. And then we got some Steve Farrar's Flash Blend. This is Anchovy color, I guess. I would have liked to have this in synthetic yak hair, this color. I actually like that material a little bit more, but I kind of like just that combo of the slightly darker on top, kind of cream white on the bottom. We've got some saddle hackle feathers and kind of an off-white. Of course, you got the Magnum Flashabou. And then I might do like a Senyos laser dub head. I don't know yet, I haven't decided, but if I'm gonna, it's gonna be these two, or I might just finish it with a brush, one of those sculpting brushes. That's about it. Gonna use a little bit of this Chocklett's Finesse just to put under that diver head and cover it with super glue, so once it goes on, it stays on. That's about it. Veevus 100 gel spun, just because I like tying with it. So let's grab that 6/0 and get to it. I'm in a pretty good mood because our heat went out on like the 29th of December and we haven't had any. And it's now the, come on buddy, 25th of January. Isn't that fun? So got the new furnace installed yesterday. Love it. Just the little things, right? Heat. All about it. So, comfortable in the basement. Just put a little thread wrap at the top. You can see this hook is, this hook is really oddly shaped, and you can YouTube search Gunner Bram, I think that's the name, or Grandin Bram or whatever. Gunner Brammer whatever. You'll get to it. And he can talk about why he designed this hook, but it's good. It's pretty much weedless when you time right. It's got a fairly big gap. It's giant, whatever. Don't use it, I don't care. So we got that going on. And the first thing that you want to do is get those saddle hackles. And you'll see a lot of tying videos of people a lot better than me. And, you know, they're putting like a little bit of bucktail in there, and then they want to tent that bucktail, you know, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, just getting them just right. I don't care. I don't care about that. If I'm really trying to make something I'm going to hang on a wall or something, I'll get real weird about it like that. But for the most part, I just start latching them in there. The main thing that I want to do is I don't want to make them like, this thing is giant, right? This is a big fly. This is like the biggest size. And one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that those saddle hackles in this Flashabou is quite a bit longer than that yak hair. And that's a shout out to the Adachi Clouser, or Adichie Clouser, however you ever say it. Obviously, my pronunciation is on point. Northern California flashtail clouser. It's just, this doesn't have any articulations, and as it's swimming, that's great, but you definitely want something back there, just kind of dangle, getting their attention. That being said, you don't want your fly to end up 16 inches, or maybe you do. So, you know, the easy way I do it with this is I want it just past the end of my vise, however long that is. I don't care. And you can see I'm not stripping the feathers or anything. I'm just 1, 2, 3. There we go. Tied it in. And I just make sure they're about the same length. I just kind of grab it, eyeball it. That's fine. And I do put it on the other side. Great. And then I'm just going to get some more. Put this one kind of on the bottom. I was just talking about how I'm not doing that. I'm not getting real, you know, anal about it, like, oh, it's got to be right there if it turns on its side or whatever. I don't care. And then, yeah, just making sure that none of them are extra long. So that's like 4. You could do 4, you could do 8, you could do 20, whatever. I'm going to do a few more just because I like saddle hackles. So one more on this side. This guy's just right here, so that'll work. See, that one wants to be a little long. And then that one on this side. So we'll do like 6. So I get these guys, I wrap it up about halfway. You could wrap it all the way to the end, cut it, and that's fine. I always just grab all the stems if I can, fold them back. This is where the GSP comes in handy. You can really reef on that stuff. And that way, there's no way in hell that's coming out. You can pull on that all you want, especially after I hit it with the Zap A Gap. So pretty straightforward beginning to a fly, right? Just, there you go. You got saddle hackles. You did it. Congratulations. Golf clap, jazz snap, whatever you want to do. Magnum Flashabou, kind of important, this fly. This is weird. It looks thinner than normal. You skimping on me, hairline? You want to get however many you pull out. That's the right amount. More than 2, less than 30 is probably right. Get them kind of lined up at the end. And that's why you want the long stuff, right? And sometimes, like a lot of times you can tie it in and fold it and bring it back. That's not going to work with this because it's that much longer. So, you know, make sure it's about, I like about 2 inches. I put it right on top. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap forward, pull this Flashabou back, couple wraps, put it back down, couple more wraps in front of it, bring it back again, tie it off. This, you could put it there. Look, it's almost there, and some people will be like, just throw it in there. No, I'm not gonna. I'll throw it in the trash. Look at that waste. I don't care. Now, where did I go? Now we're gonna get a couple more. Again, I'm pulling whatever amount comes out. I guess I'll use that one too. If you have to know, it's like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 here and there's like 4 there, so 10 altogether. You know, guys, just like some people are like, I need to know the exact amount. No, you don't. You don't need to know. You don't need to know anything, really. Just put some flash on there. Again, that worked great. Do that. Keep doing that. Just set it right there. These about 2 inches. Great. Same thing. And to not build up bulk, I'll wrap it in front of all that stuff I had just tied in. Otherwise, you end up with this big old bump there. You want to kind of keep stuff a little even. That, and then fold it back over. Tie it in. Cut this BS off. Throw it in the trash. Or save it. I know some people are real... I mean, I'm not dissing on anybody that saves the little pieces like that. I've got some very frugal friends, and they have much more money than me because they're good at saving that. But this is like, I think these guys are, there's $8 for this whole pack. I might go through a pack of Flashabou this size every 2 months. So what is that? 6 times a year I'm buying it. $48. I mean, I'll spend that like in coffee in 2 weeks, so I don't care. Got the Flashabou in there. This part's not super important, but just get it straight and just square off the ends wherever. That's it. So now you got your saddle hackles. They end 2 inches after that. You got your Flashabou. Again, pretty straightforward. If you want to secure that stuff, you can paint on a little Zap A Gap. Just get your Bob Ross, just a little paint. I always think of that one. I'm like, just paint it on. So we're going. We got it. Now we're going to move this stuff out of the way, and we're going to go for our synthetic yak. I usually put the bottom layers on first. I don't think it matters. Just creature habit. So this stuff's cool. This stuff, if you tie any type of bait fish patterns, synthetic yak is awesome. It's a longer fly, so you don't need to make it so mega. It doesn't. You don't have to use half of this, right? Whatever that looks like. Maybe like a slightly narrower than a cigar. Let's call it. Cut it off right at that zip tie. And so when you cut it off right at the zip tie, it's level, right? It's straight across. That's great. That's a great starting point because now you can control your own taper. So just kind of work it till you like whatever point it makes. And that's fine. It's pretty good. All right. So when you tie this stuff in, you don't want it to go past those tails like we talked about, right? So the tails are like just past the end of the vise. So, well, that worked great. I meant to do that. Great. I meant to do that. It's so perfect. No, that's never going to happen again. So you can just mark the end of the vise and be like, all right, I want the tail, you know. I try to eyeball it to split in half and see how far it is. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty good right there. That's not bad. So I'm going to just... Did I forget something? I forgot something. I was like, this looks wrong. You know why? It is. Not yet, though. I almost blew it. Caught myself. So what we're going to do... I didn't put the diver head on. Duh. So we're going to get some of that Chocklett's... what is it? Body chenille. They got so many different names for this stuff, and it's all the same. It's just different lengths chenille, but whatever. And this is the medium. All I'm doing is creating kind of bulk right here. So when I slide that diver head on, it's got something to attach itself to. So we're gonna actually wrap all the way back to here. Maybe not that far. I don't like the way that's set up. And then just going to tie this in. There we go. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of Zap A Gap. Now, I'm probably overkill more than most tires. I usually Zap A Gap or UV Cure as I'm building my fly. Just because when I first started tying flies, obviously I was a lot worse. And stuff would just come unraveled, and I'd have like a really cool fly that I liked, and you know, you catch a fish on it or you just cast and it just unravels. Now that's probably due to just bad tying skills, but now I'm just gluing everything down a million times and hasn't been an issue. Shocker. So whip finish this guy like so. Cut her off. And like if you want to, sometimes I'll get in here, like if this is looking like pretty long, it's not there for any reason except to attach itself to that diver head. It doesn't have to have it doesn't have to look good, is what I'm saying. Oh, sounds like my dog fell off the couch, or I don't know, something broke upstairs. So then I'm gonna really, I'm getting on there. Rotate and just make sure this thing's pretty well covered. And you're going to have to do some forceful jamming right now. So, Rainey's medium clear diver head, check. And you can use a large. I just didn't have any left, but that's gonna give you more or less action. Also, the medium's kind of nice because you know that it's going to sink a little bit. The large it's in charge. So yeah, just like that, I just slide her on, push it back, and just make sure it doesn't go back too far. If you push it too far back, it angles down. It's going to mess up your whole action Jackson. So just like that. Easy peasy, right? Anybody can do it. Tie in your thread. Cut her off. You guessed it, but just a little bit, just pretty treat right there. Now we're ready for the yak hair. Okay. Like I said, try to split it in half. It's not super crucial, but it makes it easier. Take a look at it. Just make sure it's not longer than the end of your vise. I spin the GSP sometimes. It just puts an edge on it. Makes it smaller diameter when I'm starting to get up to the head. Just something I do. And what I'm going to do is you just want to make sure it's not rolling over the hook. You just want it on the bottom. You don't want it kind of on the sides or whatever. You can add a slightly different color of synthetic yak on the sides if you want to. I'm not going to do that. You can roll your thumb if you really want to get those sides covered. I just want it on the bottom and the top. I'm not specific, especially for that first layer. I'm not going to fold it yet, and I'll show you why in a second. We're going to get well, it's not yak, I guess. This is that Farrar's Flash blend. They really got to come up with like a better packaging, because like you get into it and then I like remelt the plastic after I stuff it back in there, but it's not a great system, you know. The whole thing just comes out. What am I going to do with this? It's just Mess Maker 2.0. So again, slightly smaller than like a cigar, I would say. Maybe like a permanent marker size. Maybe a little more. If either the top or the bottom is going to have a little bit more, put it on top, right? That'll help it not want to roll as well. It's kind of like putting a wing in a steelhead fly or something. Okay. This stuff's so cool looking. So just, again, taper it, get it to go to a point. Don't get crazy over it. Just, yeah, that's a point. Okay. And you want to make sure it's as long or slightly longer than the bottom. So that's slightly longer. Spin to win. Make sure it's where you want to set. And again, this is where the GSP kind of shines. Is it'll cut through some materials like deer hair and stuff, but this synthetic stuff, it doesn't. And you can really tie stuff down well. So I want to make sure this goes pretty much all the way to the eye. So I'm going to wrap forward a couple times. That's pretty good. You can get a hollow Bic pen like that. Kind of lift it up and just shove that stuff back so you can have a pretty good view of it. Really pull it back. I go up and over the hair. I don't try to build a thread dam. I go around it, 2 or 3 times, then I spin it, pull down pretty hard. 3 more times. That's it on that part. 2, 3, whatever, 10, 15, just whip finish. Okay. Yeah. This one, I'm probably going to UV cure. I mean, I want that thing. Sometimes I double up. You want to get crazy? Let's do it. So I just throw a little Zap A Gap, and that will, I don't try to super coat it, but it soaks into that GSP a lot better than UV cure. Then you hit it with this stuff. And again, I'm not trying to build a huge head. I just want to make sure that it really stays, because if this comes apart, that's it. That flies toast. Then get your tiny loon light. Light it up. Cool. Where's my brush? So this, just let's put that over there. There it is. Then you kind of comb it out a little bit. Watch that hook on top. She'll get you. It's no size, 18. Scud hook. That's a 6/0. And just kind of try to get it so you can see what the heck is going on. Yeah, dude. Damn. Looks good. See how easy that is? How long did that take? Not that long. That's an exact time. Now, you can church it up here if you want. I guess we will, because this is a tiny video. So what we're going to do right now, it's going to be tough because we're close to that head. You could put rubber legs in here for gills. I'm not, because I don't have enough room. I could have made something up and been like, well, this one I really want to fish for this. It's just not true. I messed up and I didn't leave enough room. My bad. So it's not going to get gills. But you can take, these are kind of cool rubber legs, especially it's like the same color. It's a Wapsi Silly Legs Sand Orange Black Flake. Super cool. It's like the same exact color as that. So that would have been pretty cool to do. But guess what? I messed up and I'm not going to redo it. So there. You can tie rubber legs in. You know what you're doing. What we're going to do now is the same thing with that synthetic, except using Senyos laser dub. So this is just white. And there's like a technical term for this. I don't know it, but pull it apart, put it back together. That's my scientific term. You're just trying to get it as long as possible so you have better tie-in point. So that's all I'm doing. Is just pulling it apart, putting it together, and just pulling at the tips and just trying to get it all going one way, so it's not all tangled up in there. Makes it easier to tie in. That's probably good. Well, that wasn't good. And you don't need a bunch, but you do want you want a little bit of bulk. That's not too bad. I'm going to throw a little bit more in there. Probably going to regret this, but with a lot of these materials, especially like the laser dub, if you got too much and you tie it in, you can just pick it out, pull it out, cut it out, whatever. But if you don't put enough in, you look at it and the head of the fly is like, not great. So, side story. I'm looking at TikTok and this guy's like, yeah, he's like, I'm real embarrassed to say that like all that's been going on in my head for like 2 weeks is like that Asian guy that just goes like, it says emotional damage after like somebody, gets owned on the internet. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm like saying it around the house out loud to myself. And I was like cracking up. This was actually a couple days ago. And then now I found myself doing it. Like there's a take that I erased. I should have included it, where I'm just saying it in the basement by myself. I'm just like, I gotta get off the internet for a little bit. Wasn't that interesting? Take this Senyos laser dub, just split it in half, put it right there. It's pretty good. And then you're gonna want to spin this thread. Kind of adjust it so it stays on the bottom. One kind of tight. Just like 3 or 4 wraps. Flip it over, make sure it's centered. Good deal. Same thing. Laser dub, tan. This is cool. I like this color a lot. Just because it looks like it's got some UV material in there. It's kind of got like that blue reflective stuff. I don't know. Looks good to me. So I'm going to use it. And we're doing the same thing. Just put it together, pull it apart, put it together, pull it apart, put it together, pull it apart. Come on. Okay, this is a lot. Should work out. So, same thing. Put that on top. Spin to win. This is a lot of dubbing. Uh-oh. See, tried to catch it. Okay, that's in there as good as it's going to get. Fold this sucker back. Uh-oh. And fold this sucker back. This is going to be a pain in the butt. This might be some thread dam action. So I'm just going to pull this back. There's a little break right here in the front. So I just got to fill it with thread. Again, that's the nice thing about that GSP 100 is if you don't spin it, it's pretty thick. And you can build up a thread base pretty quickly over here. Another thing that you can do is if you comb it out to where you want it, we'll take a look at it. Then you can just use your UV cure to kind of sculpt it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of it kind of on the edge. Down here. Like so. Not a ton because it'll ruin your fly. It'll just like the whole thing will just turn solid. And just pull it back. And just hit it with your light. That'll kind of help hold the shape, and then you can kind of finish the head however you want. So, as you can see, worked great. And then, get a with this bodkin. Get in there and just kind of dig it out because it is thick. And that's going to kind of thin it out. Just grab that stuff, get it out of there. Hit it with the brush. Same thing on the bottom. Just get in there with your bodkin and kind of pick it out a little bit. That's why when you Zap A Gap or super glue or UV cure your way through a fly, when you get in there and you're really digging around with the bodkin or whatever, if you don't have those layers of kind of security in there, you could hit a thread wrap and pull it up and loosen something, and then you're kind of screwed. So I think there's a benefit to doing it, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. Cool. So that's got a nice large profile head that's going to push some water around, right? Which is what we want. And then I'm just going to whip it. Get this guy. Get it right there. Just like, I don't know, 3 or 4. Whatever makes you feel good. Tie it off. Now here I don't cut it off until I glue it. Sometimes that GSP it wants to like slip. It's so slick that if it doesn't have the pressure of just the bobbin, hanging there, that knot just loosens just a little bit. I haven't had huge issues, but it's just easy to just hit it with the light and then cut off the thread. So that's basically it. That's dog walker. You can put eyes on it if you want. I usually do just because I like the way they look. And that's the other thing, that if you're putting eyes on this guy, it's super simple. Because since it's got that glider head underneath, you actually have a little bit of purchase underneath that fly. So let's just grab these guys. It's just Ultra 3D eyes. Just going to dig a couple out here. Maybe. I just stick them on my hand. I don't know where I saw somebody did that, but it makes it easy to move around, and then they're right there. So if you look, there's just that little space right there, and the diver head's underneath. So I get Zap A Gap, and just above there's the dogs. Either a squirrel walked by, the wind blew weird, maybe a leaf fell from a tree, or nothing at all. It could be nothing at all. And they go into attack mode. Now, if you opened said door and whatever scared them advanced to them, they would run and hide because they're big babies. Okay, so there's the eye. Right in the middle, I was able to push down on that glider head that's tucked in there, so you know it's sticking. Same thing, other side. I'm just putting Zap A Gap just above where that tan dubbing starts. So not right in the middle of the white and the tan, just slightly above, where our eye would be. And when you push it down, it goes right against the glider head. Ta-da! You did it. Aren't you proud of yourself? This actually looks a lot better than I thought it was going to turn out. I mean, this is kind of the yellow and white one version. And then, look how that looks good. That looks like I'm excited to fish this one now. Like I said, I really like that Steve Farrar's Flash blend. Dang, say that once. You don't even have to say it 10 times fast. Just try saying it once. It's anchovy. I don't even know if I've seen a live anchovy. Is that the color of it? Drop a comment below. Tell us, is that the color of an anchovy? Just kidding. Never drop a comment. And never smash the subscribe button. Don't even hit the like button. I don't care. Don't do any of that. Just learn how to tie that fly, catch a fish. And if you catch a fish, you can privately message me and go, hey, you know what? Remember that stupid ass fly you tied last winter? It's still dumb, but I caught a fish on it. And then I'll be like, great. And that's it. And that's our conversation. Anyways, aren't you glad that you stuck around and saw all this BS and me doing this dumb stuff? You're welcome as usual. This is Eric Leninger from G Loomis Fly. And I'd say look for a video next week, but there's no guarantees. I was bored today. That is all.